happy Friday, Wilson County Public Library teenagers. It is that time again for Wilson County Public Library's weekly book talk for teens, TGIF. And it's me, your host, Kate Britton. If you don't know me by now, you obviously haven't been watching. I am the teen librarian here at the Wilson County Public Library, and I'm really excited that you are joining me today. So if it is your first time tuning in to this video, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're a return viewer, welcome back. I am also glad that you're here. This week's book is a non-fiction book, and it's about something that I've always been really fascinated with and interested in, which is space. This week's book is called Apollo 13, A Successful Failure, and it's by Laura B. Edge. Now, if you have never seen the movie Apollo 13, you've probably heard the quote, "Houston, we've had a problem here. Houston, we've had a problem. Houston, we've got a problem." Some kind of version of that. But if you don't know, if you've never seen the movie Apollo 13, if you don't know anything about the Apollo 13 mission, it was called a successful failure. It was a success in that they got the crew home safely of Apollo 13. It was a failure in that they didn't go to the moon like they were supposed to. Now, what happened? Well, it was 1970, April 1970, and Apollo 13 was launched, and they were heading for the moon. But on April 13th, there was an explosion in one of the oxygen tanks in the spacecraft that really crippled it, and their oxygen started running out really fast, and their electrical power started failing. And so the three astronauts who were on there, who were Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes, were basically stranded in space. And the mission control down at NASA had to figure out a way to get them home safely while making sure they had enough oxygen and making sure that they were able to maneuver the spacecraft so that they could re-enter the Earth's orbit and the Earth's atmosphere safely. So it's, everybody was watching and waiting and holding their breath to see what would happen with these astronauts all over the world. Now, keep in mind, this was 1970. This was like the peak of the space race with the Soviet Union. It's like, yeah, Apollo 11 had happened, and we had landed on the moon, but we were going back. And thank God that, they made it home safely. But it was a scary time, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But it just shows how in really desperate times, people can really, what was the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention. In really desperate times, people can pull together and come up with solutions to really kind of life or death situations. And Apollo 13, it was a life or death situation. And it's one of the great stories about American invention and ingenuity and cooperation and resilience. And if you don't know much about this, you know a little bit now, but definitely read this book. It goes through the steps. It gives really thorough detail on day by day how the mission was going and what exactly went wrong, and how everyone at NASA and Mission Control and all the scientists at NASA pulled together to fix whatever they could with, duct tape and, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? Like whatever they could find, and helping the astronauts fashion something to help filter their oxygen, and to kind of get them home safely. So anyway, this book, once again, is called Apollo 13, A Successful Failure. It's by the author Laura B. Edge. This book came out in March, so it's been out for a little bit, but it is a wonderful book. It is a fantastic story. And once again, if you're a history nerd like I am, you'll really like this. And this is more recent history too, so my parents, this happened when they were, teenagers and or tweens, and hearing them talk about the story and looking back on it and to how it was covered, and everybody was watching and waiting to see what happened, with bated breath, and everyone was elated when the astronauts finally splashed down and made it home safely. So anyway, we do have this book in the library. We just recently got it in, so you should come check it out, figuratively and literally. And I would like to know what you think of it. If you have read this book, shoot me a line, drop a line, comment in the video. Let me know what you thought of it. And if you have any suggestions of what we should cover on one of the future episodes of TGIF, let me know. I'd be glad to hear from you. So anyway, that's my recommendation for the week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. Wash your hands, wear your masks, and be good. And I'll see you next week right here on TGIF. Bye, guys.